Hi everybody, Maria Williams here. I hope you're having a great day. Today I'm sharing a video that is a departure from what I normally do. I usually do cards, and today I'm doing a vinyl project, specifically HTV, which is heat transfer vinyl, and I'm using my dies that I normally use for cards to put a design on this bag. So this is a really easy way to turn something really plain into something you love. I'm using a really plain cosmetic bag that I got, I think at Nordstrom when I went with my friend to one of these special days. And it's kind of a canvas bag. And I'm going to use three different kinds of HTV. All of it is glitter vinyl, and it all comes with instructions for how to use it. And they're very simple. And then I'm also going to be using a couple of dies from Concord and Ninth. One of them is the Everyday Circle dies, and the other one is the Wonderful Words dies. And I'm also using a butterfly die. This one is was discontinued a long time by Stampin' Up, but any butterfly die will do. And of course you can use anything you want. The only thing is you want to not use anything that is too detailed, and if you can use shapes that are attached. So for example, all my letters are on the same die. The ones for lovely are all attached, and that makes it really convenient. If you choose dies like that, application will be a whole lot easier. So I started out wanting to use my Sidekick because all my dies would fit through this little machine, and I thought it would be easier as it takes up less space. And so the first thing I did was to cut pieces of the vinyl that were just a little bit bigger than my dies. I started out die cutting the hello, and I quickly realized that the way I was doing it was just not going to work. So I'm going to show you kind of the process I went through, what I tried that didn't work, and then what actually ended up working the best. So if you want to just see what worked, you can skip ahead in the video, but if not, follow along. So this vinyl has a plastic coating that you need to have on there when you first apply it to your project. But for now, I figured it didn't have to be there, so I went ahead and removed the plastic covering and placed my die directly on the vinyl, and I ran that through. And before I started to try to separate anything, I went ahead and put that carrier sheet back on and flipped it over and tried to pull away the excess vinyl and realized that it didn't cut through at all. So I was very disappointed, but I thought, okay, so maybe I just need some shims. So I gave up on that piece of vinyl, got a new one, and then got some notebook paper, and because that was what was handy, and I folded it up in. By the time I was unfolding, I think I had, what, 6 layers of notebook paper. So, excuse me, I ran that through, and then I was starting to see results. You can see that it cut through the paper and it cut through the vinyl, and everything seemed to be going better. Well, then for the butterfly, since it doesn't matter if you cut the butterfly from the front or the back of the vinyl, I thought, oh, maybe it makes a difference if you cut from the back. So I removed the plastic coating, flipped the vinyl over, placed the butterfly die on it, and ran it through. Now I got mixed results with that. It did do a little bit better than cutting it from the front without the carrier sheet, but I still was picking, and finally I was like, that's it. I'm pulling out the big guns. So I pulled out my Big Shot, and I also decided to use my precision base plate, which if you have a metal shim, I'm sure it would work just as well. So I started kind of in reverse order. I decided to go with the butterfly first because I can cut the butterfly from the back of the vinyl. And so I'm going to cut a piece that's just a little bit larger than the butterfly and just flip the vinyl over and place the die on top. So I'm cutting from the back of the vinyl, and I'm going to run it through the Big Shot twice. So through and then back, and you will see that it cut beautifully. Even with that thick plastic coating on it, it cut great. So all I have to do now is take my pick, and I am using my Silhouette pick here, but you could use anything pointy to push the pieces out, and you can see how easily they come out. And then I was able to pull the entire butterfly out and take all the other little pieces out. So when I was done with that, I went ahead and cut a piece of the vinyl, and because I was cutting from the front of the vinyl, I did need to remove that thick plastic coating. So I did that, put my die in place and run it through the same way. And you can already see that it cut beautifully, but to keep the vinyl from stretching or anything when I pulled it off, I went ahead and put the carrier sheet back on and then removed the excess vinyl. And look how much easier this is. I was tickled pink. Okay, pardon the pun, that was really cheesy. Okay, so last but not least, I did the same exact thing with a piece of black vinyl, and then all my pieces were ready to go and I was ready to start ironing. I do not own any of the heat presses that are specifically made to apply heat transfer materials. So I am just using an iron, and I have this really small iron, a little travel iron that I never use for anything. I definitely don't travel with it. And I don't even know if it's available anymore. It's a Black & Decker Gizmo. But I went ahead and set it per the directions on the cotton setting, and then I'm just kind of figuring out the arrangement of my elements, and I'm going to start with the butterfly. So that I don't burn my hand, I do have a piece of cardboard inside the bag that is going to be between the bag and my hand, and this is just from a package of 12 by 12 paper. It just came with a thicker piece of cardstock, so I just cut it down. And then I'm trying to flatten my bag as much as possible. I put my butterfly with the plastic carrier still on it, and then a piece of parchment paper, otherwise that plastic will just melt right onto my iron. And I'm going by the application instructions that came with the vinyl that say to press the iron firmly for 10 seconds on the entire design, then peel away the clear polyester carrier, and then recover with parchment or craft paper and reheat for 5 to 10 seconds. And then if you're going to wash this, you do need to wait at least 24 hours, but I'm not planning on washing this bag. I'm actually going to coat it with some Scotch Guard to prevent it from getting dirty, and that's it. So again, just following the instructions, and if you feel like it's not stuck down properly, you can always put the parchment back on and iron a little bit longer just to make sure that none of the edges are going to come up. The butterfly was looking great, and I was feeling so happy. I was giddy doing this project because it just was so easy. So anyway, then I'm just taking the rest of my elements and again checking for placement, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing with the iron, and then I'll show you the finished product. I want to mention that there are all different kinds of heat transfer vinyl. There's holographic, there's just plain with no glitter on it whatsoever. There's some kind of stretch vinyl. Anyway, there are just a lot of color options and style options out there. So I think this is a great way to use your dies for something other than paper crafting, and super easy. So I hope you like it. So here's the finished bag. I was really happy with the way it turned out. At this point, you could add some other embellishments depending on what you were going to use it for, like pearls or sequins, or I would recommend if you're going to actually use it for cosmetics and traveling and all that, that it's something that is sewn on rather than glued. But if you have a really great glue, you could try that too. So anyway, I hope you liked the video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did, and I will see you next time. For links to the products I used and still shots, please visit my blog at mariascardsandmore.com. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.